Thank you so much. Om Shanti. Spirituality, happiness, unity, family. So we have four words today: spirituality, happiness, unity, and family. And like Sunil ji so beautifully shared, that during this lockdown, it has really given us an opportunity to understand the meaning of happiness and truly experience it in very simple ways, because we were not going out, we were not traveling, we were not having friends and relatives coming home, we were not going out to buy anything. A large period we were not achieving anything because we were not working in the beginning 1 month. So all those things which we thought gives happiness, which is achievement, travel, friends, social gatherings, everything had stopped. And everything stopped suddenly, one night, and that's it. It's announced, and from tomorrow morning, everything of this has stopped suddenly. And yet, we realized that we were experiencing a very different kind of a vibration, a very different kind of an energy. So that's what gives us an opportunity to really understand happiness. It's very important to understand this word because all of us are living in pursuit of this word. We want this one word in our life and our family's life and for our children. If anyone's to ask any of you, why do you work so hard? आप इतनी मेहनत क्यों करते हो? Then I want to give happiness to my family. Pure intention, selfless intention to give happiness to everybody. We even want a happy world. We want everyone to be happy. But the more we are trying, the more we are working towards it, something is missing, because of which we're actually creating a lot of the opposite. Because otherwise, if I rewind to 30 years back, people were not moving around looking for happiness. They were comfortable the way they were. But at that time, there was also no word as stress. When I was in school, there was no word as stress. Stress was only in physics, it was not in feelings and emotions. It was definitely not there in school life and college life. It was the best time. That's what everybody used to say, that student life is the best time. And now we have school students, leave alone college, but we have school students talking about depression, talking about anxiety attack, talking about fear, panic attack. So now it's time to introspect. What's the missing dimension? We're working harder than we were working before. We're even meditating. We want to do everything, and yet we're not experiencing that one word that we want to experience. But we have started experiencing a lot of negative words which were not there before. So, stress, anxiety, panic attack, all these words were not there before. So, what happened? It's like we wanted happiness, but we went and created something else. How can that be possible? It's like a business. You've decided on your product. You can't go and create an opposite of the product that you want. But that's what we did in life. We went and created the opposite of what we want, simply because we were looking for happiness everywhere outside. We thought it has to come from somewhere. And mostly we thought it's going to come from what we do. We thought happiness is in the doing. Any even simple things like, if I eat this, I will be happy. Nobody can be happy by eating. Yes, I can create a nice thought by getting to eat what I want to eat, and then I say, but actually, that food item that I'm eating is not going to give me happiness. Food was meant to be eaten for health. Clothes were meant to be worn to cover the body. Objects were meant to be used for our physical comfort. We made all these things a source of happiness. So, what we buy is for happiness, what we eat is for happiness, what we do is for happiness. It is for happiness, which means when I do this, I will be happy, is an equation we created. The truth is contradictory to that. The truth is that happiness is our nature, and now we can cook, we can eat, we can buy, we can work, we can do everything. But we don't do it for happiness. We are happy and then do it. So that equation has to change. So happiness is not in what we are doing. Happiness is in who we are, in our every thought, in our every feeling, in our state of mind while doing what we want to do. Whether it's work, whether it's holiday, whether it's being with family, it's not that they will give me happiness. I have to create the right thought, create that happiness, and be with them. So, one equation we need to change today: happiness is not in what we do, happiness is who we are, and then happily we do everything. We don't do it for happiness, we do it with happiness. Equation needs to be correct. Equation needs to be correct. We do it with happiness, which means we are happy. हम खुशी के लिए नहीं करते, हम खुश रह कर करते हैं. That one equation will change our living completely. Second, then how do I create happiness within? Happiness is equal to every thought I create in response to every situation of life. Happiness is how I feel. But what I thought was that my feelings are dependent on people and situations. Even look at the last 6, 8 months. Together, the world has been saying fear and anxiety is normal. Yes, COVID is a crisis, it's a pandemic, but fear and anxiety is normal. This was our choice. This was our choice. And together we said it. Can we even visualize what vibration we have created on the planet in the last 9 months? What vibration the planet needed and what vibration we have created? Is it healing energy vibration that we have created? Let's look at the planet like an entity, not well. There is disease on the planet. Planet needs healing energy, and we said fear and anxiety is normal. Visualize millions of people creating fear and anxiety, vibrating into the air. It's the collective energy of the planet. Is that going to be the healing energy? Our thoughts and vibrations create the energy of the planet. Create the energy of the planet. But we said fear and anxiety is normal. So let's create one simple equation today, which will solve everything in life. And that equation is to be emotionally independent. To not say, whatever I'm feeling here is because of what's happening here. Let's go to before COVID. Even before COVID, we were talking this language. I'm angry because of, I'm hurt because of, I'm irritated because of, I'm happy because of. Something had to happen outside and I would feel accordingly. So, do I have a choice what I'm going to feel, or what I feel is only dependent on what's happening outside? That's that equation which needs to change. Just visualize your house, 4 people at home, and there is a situation in the family. There is a situation in the family. Do 4 people respond the same way? No. One can get very stressed, one can be okay, a little disturbed, one can be very relaxed, and one can be very indifferent. 4 different responses to the same situation. So, who's the creator of the response? The mind, not the situation. Let us stop saying, I'm feeling like this because of. I'm feeling like this because I choose to create that thought. Once we take this responsibility that I am the creator of my every thought and feeling, that makes us Atmanirbhar. We want to create an Atmanirbhar country. To create an Atmanirbhar Bharat, I need to be Atmanirbhar first, myself. Atma, I, Nirbhar, dependent, reliant. I am reliant on myself for how I think and feel. But we are today situation Nirbhar. We are people Nirbhar. We are asking people to be nice so that we can be happy. You please talk properly to me so that I can be happy. That's not Atma Nirbhar. That is people Nirbhar. Situation should be perfect. So we are waiting. When will this COVID issue get resolved so that we can be happy? COVID needs to be resolved for health. Happiness is not dependent on COVID. Here, inner world is not dependent on the outer world. Unless we change that, we will be a victim to people's behavior and situations. So I am the creator of my every thought, feeling, word, and behavior. This should be our mantra in life. I am the creator of my every thought, feeling, word, and behavior. Atmanirbhar, emotionally independent, which means there can be a crisis outside, but I can be calm inside. If I don't take care, it can be calm outside and I can create a crisis inside. but I have the power. So once we start taking it like that, then now we need to start conserving our emotional energy. What is happiness? What is stress? Happiness, visualize this like a battery. Please draw a battery here in your mind. Visualize this like a battery. When this battery is charged, which means if I'm full inside, contented, then I'm happy, respectful, peaceful, powerful, compassionate, empathetic, everything. When this is full. When this gets depleted, I am stressed, I'm aggressive, I'm irritated, I can get hurt very easily, I can create jealousy, comparison, competition. These are emotional diseases, and this is emotional health. So, for me to be happy, for me to have very beautiful relationships with other people, whether at home, whether at work, there is a family at home, there's a family at workplace also. There's a family at workplace also. So for me to be able to adjust, adapt, cooperate, I need this battery to be full. But when this is depleted, then my tolerance level reduces. My power to be able to adjust with the other person reduces. I react to their behavior. If they say one thing, I'll say three things back in return. Why should I keep quiet? So then my relationships start getting affected. My expectations are very high. My power to accept is very low. If the battery is charged, my acceptance power is very high. If my battery is discharged, my expectations are very high. So all my relationships are actually not about here. My relationships are about who I am here. Who I am here. So if I take care of my emotional health and I charge this battery on a daily basis, and that's why if you see, go 50 years back, everybody was able to live in huge joint families. You visualize 20 people living together, 10 people, 15 people living together, and not only just living together, but living together in that harmony. Doesn't mean that they were not different that time. Sanskars are always different. Even if you have twins, they will have two different set of sanskars. So it's not that they were not different that time, but they had that power to adjust, the power to keep quiet, the power to tolerate, the power to forgive, the power to let go. Why did they have that more than us? Because they were emotionally healthy. Why were they more emotionally healthy than us? Because they were doing certain things to take care of their emotional health. And they did not have certain things which we have in our life today, which affects our emotional health. So our relationships are here. Gradually, as our emotional health got affected, our relationships got affected. So emotional health has a direct connection with our relationships. So then many of us, not everybody, some are still living with 20 people together, but many of us then moved towards smaller families, and then smaller, and then today we are alone in our room, and we are very happy that way. We think we are very happy being with our laptop and iPad and phone. We are very happy. We think we are very happy, but actually, no, because our power to adjust and adapt is not getting used. This power increases in us only when we are with people. Only when we are with people. So, like we need to bend makes us healthy, to adjust makes us emotionally healthy. To be able to listen to a no makes us emotionally healthy. To live a life of discipline makes us emotionally healthy. If a parent says this and we accept it immediately without saying no, why, how, it makes us emotionally strong. It makes us emotionally strong. But if we are living alone in a room and we're talking to people only online, and sometimes we don't even know who we are talking to, then we don't need to adjust. We don't need to adapt. We don't need to accept. Emotional health does not get developed. Does not get developed. So that's why relationship is directly connected with our emotional health. So whether I want to be happy or whether I want to create unity in family, it all depends on who I am here. This is very important. So, as a family, we can take some decisions to start taking care of everyone's emotional health. Because if we don't take care of our emotional health, then the next crisis that is there is a mental health crisis. It's a mental health crisis. Why are there huge numbers of depression, anxiety attack today? Don't you think together we need to do something about it? Don't you think so? How can we be high in numbers of mental health issues? That's not why we were working so hard for ourselves and for our families. We need to protect the emotional and mental health of our children. We cannot only prioritize their intellectual health, their physical health, their social circles, social health. What about their emotional and mental health? Because you are preparing them for a world 10 years from today, preparing them for a world 20 years from today. Even now, during this COVID and after this, a lot of corporate houses are saying we want leaders who are emotionally strong. Emotionally strong. Why? Suddenly a situation came, power to adapt, power to adjust, power to be able to hold everyone together, power to be able to motivate others and inspire others also. It requires a lot of emotional energy. Lot of emotional energy. So emotional health is now not a priority, it's a necessity. It's a necessity. And if we take care of our emotional health, then we will never ever go towards a mental health issue. We all have the power that we can eradicate this depression and all these mental health issues from the country. We can eradicate it because we are a country which is very, very, very rich in spiritual principles, in healing tools and techniques. We have yoga, pranayama, meditation, satsang, spirituality. We have so much. We cannot be a country. We cannot be a country who's talking about depression. It's only because we're not taking care of our emotional health. So, as a culture at home, we can start prioritizing emotional health. Start prioritizing emotional health. That will benefit every family member. It does not mean everyone has to start doing it immediately. No, everyone can take their own time. But it also definitely means that I need to start. It needs to begin with one person. Just begin with one person. So let's pick up simple lifestyle habits which can increase your emotional health. Simple lifestyle habits. As it is, we're just 10 days away from the new year, and many of you are going to create new habits for the new year because new year should mean a new me. It cannot be just a change in the date. It is a change in me. So let's look at some simple lifestyle habits. The morning. The morning hour is very, very important for our emotional health. Actually, two times are very important. The first hour of the morning and the last hour before we go to sleep. This is emotional health. But this emotional health will heal physical health, will heal relationships, will heal nature, environment, and can change the world. So, the first hour in the morning and the last hour before we go to sleep, these 2 hours are extremely important for our emotional health. If you are heading an organization, experiment with something which is going to benefit all the people who work with you. What has happened since the time we have technology? We are always at work. We're always at work. Even if we are at home, we are at work because in our minds we are at work because we are connected with our phones and with our technology and our gadgets. Let's start giving our mind a little break. It needs some rest. If we want our people coming tomorrow in the morning to work energized, intuitive, relaxed, recharged, emotionally healthy, then we need to give them time to take a break from their work. If they are at home, they need to take a break from their work, which means let's start having cut-off times from work. From work. And cut-off times means cut-off times here from work. And that's a simple thing to do. Let's say if you're working from 8 to 8, even if you're working from 8 to 8 as an extreme, 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening. Then 8 in the evening to 8 in the morning, we should not be working. We don't need to work always. So if we are working from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., then give the mind a break from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Even if we do this much, we are going to solve majority emotional and mental health issues of the country. Every organization is a moral responsibility that the people we are sending home every evening, most of them are someone's parent. You're sending parents home in the evening. If we want to have emotionally strong children, we will have to send emotionally strong parents home every evening. Otherwise, बच्चे strong कहाँ से बनेंगे? How is it? How does emotional health get created? So for us to have emotionally strong children, we have to have emotionally healthy parents. For us to have emotionally healthy parents, we will have to give them cut-off time from work. But if we expect people to be at work always, even after they go home, they are at work, they're answering emails, they're answering messages, they're talking on the phones. Work is a part of life. We have made work our life. And that's why lockdown just reminded us, oh, there was more in life than only working. And we suddenly started enjoying that life so much. Oh, because we hadn't experienced it for quite a few years. Because even when we were at home, we were at work. Whether it's a Sunday, we are at work in our mind. It's Diwali, it's Christmas, it's New Year. We are at work in our mind because of the phone. So the phone was designed to make our life comfortable. But because we have the phone, we are working as if everything has to be done today itself. There's nothing that can be left for tomorrow. And because of that, the mind is fatigued. We are living with tired minds, fatigued minds. And when the mind is tired and fatigued, it just reacts in every situation. We just react and we deplete our emotional health. And if we are living on the low emotional health, and then there is a situation in our life, there is a chances to shift towards a mental health. So let's create cutoff times from work. If we do it as an organization, very good. If we don't do it as an organization, let's do it as a team. If you don't do it as a team, let's do it individually. The problem is that we have a fear. We fear that if I disconnect myself from work for 2 hours, someone else will go ahead of me. This is big time fear. This is fear. But the truth is, if you really want to go ahead in life, your mind needs to be energized. Tired minds. It's like you want to use the phone, it has to be kept for charging. You want to use the car, you have to stop and fuel it. You don't say, I don't have time. It's only for the mind that we do that. Even when you wake up in the middle of the night, check how many of you do it. Even if you wake up in the middle of the night, do you check any message, any email? If we're doing that, then we are never ever silent in our mind. Our mind is turbulent always. So, very, very important, have cut-off times from work. At least an hour after we wake up. So, if you wake up at 5, don't check your emails and phones till 6 or 7. Don't. Give the mind some time to connect to the supreme power, to fill yourself with positivity, to reflect, to contemplate, to meditate. Most of us meditate, contemplate, pray, we do everything, but we first look at our phone. So we first look at our phone for 10 minutes, see all the messages and emails, and then we sit to meditate and pray. And then we said, I sat there, but my mind was going here and there because my mind already read all the emails and messages before meditating. So that would not work. So at least an hour in the morning, no connection with the world, which means world news, social media handles, work communication, at least not for an hour in the morning. Because the first layer of information which will go on the mind, the first layer of information in the morning, that will get absorbed by the subconscious. We've just had deep sleep, subconscious, which means the deeper layer of the mind is active. Whatever I will put first layer in the morning, that will go deeper into my personality. And that's why we used to say earlier, कि सुबह सुबह किसका चेहरा देखा था? Who's the first person you saw in the morning? That's how the day is going to be. It meant who's the first thing that was here in the morning, here. So the first hour of the morning, should be not with any of this technology or anything from the outside world. The first hour of the morning should be for meditation, spiritual study, yoga, pranayam. 1 hour. An hour for the self is what is going to change the quality of the remaining 23 hours. An hour for the self is what is going to heal not just your mind and body, but your relationships, the energy of the house, and also the energy of the planet. An hour for the self. Emotional health depends on emotional diet, and emotional diet depends on what we watch, read, listen. What we watch, read, listen is who we become. So now rewind. 30 years back, why there was no stress, why there was no depression, not that we knew much about it. Why was it not there? Because what we watch, read, listen was very little compared to what it is right now. And quality is completely different. So, what we watch, read, listen, if the content I consume has got aggression, has got stress, has got worry, has got hurt and hatred, has got jealousy and competition and comparison, if that's what is there in what I consume, then that's who I become. That is who I become. So, spirituality means I begin my morning with at least 30 minutes, ideally 60, but at least 30 minutes of a healthy emotional diet. That is spiritual study, which means begin the day with absorbing content of spiritual nature, content from the divine, content of compassion, empathy, faith, love, acceptance, unity, forgiveness. I have to absorb that content. Unless I absorb that, I will not be able to become that, because during the day I'm absorbing a lot of the opposite content. काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, अहंकार, पांच विकार, lust, anger, ego, greed, jealousy. We are consuming so much of that content. If we absorb that, that's who we are going to become. So at least 30 minutes in the morning should be like mandatory for everybody. It's like diet. We're so conscious of what we're eating for the body. More than that, we need to take care of what we are putting into our mind. So at least 30 minutes of that. Let's begin the morning with gratitude. The first few thoughts should be of gratitude. Gratitude to the supreme power. Gratitude to the mind and body for being healthy. Gratitude to family and to people. And gratitude to nature. If we create first few thoughts of gratitude, then our mind tunes into a higher vibration, and then there is less to complain during the day, more power to accept. Then meditation. Meditation means preparing ourselves for how to be during the day. We all have a diary of what to do during the day. We need to prepare ourselves for how we are going to be today. So Raj Yoga meditation means we create a set of powerful thoughts and then we visualize them. It's power of visualization. We all know about the miracles created with power of visualization, but that is power of visualization of what we want to achieve. Meditation means power of visualization of what I want to achieve here, who I want to become here, not what I want to become here, what I want to become here. So let's say I take a simple thought to meditate. I am a peaceful being. Now I start visualizing it during the day with people, in situations. I'm a peaceful being. I'm emotionally healthy, untouched by vibrations, energies of situation and people. Peace is my nature. Peace is my personality. I release the past. I let go. This is my preparation in the morning. I connect to the supreme power. Visualize the powers and the qualities and the knowledge from the divine filling inside the soul. This is Raj Yoga meditation. So, an hour in the morning for spiritual study and for meditation starts energizing this battery. Then, during the day, only using what was done in the morning. just using it during the day. The last hour before we go to sleep, if we want to be emotionally healthy, we need to take care of our sleep timings. Life needs to be disciplined. Again, we say, Nahi, how is it possible? Because we allow our work to decide how we are going to live. That's not how it was meant to be. That's not how it was meant to be. We have to create a disciplined lifestyle and then manage our work around it. We went the other way around. We said, if I finish my work, I will sleep early. If I finish my work, then I will eat on time. If I don't finish my work, how can I eat on time? How can I sleep on time? Matlab everything else secondary and work right on top, which is okay. That is a priority. If we make that choice, then work will flourish, which it is, mind getting affected, body getting affected, relationships getting affected. Everything is a result only of the karma that we created. We said, if I get time, I will do meditation. If I get time, I will do yoga. How can I sleep early? I come from work only so late. So everything was actually that one reason. So we create a streamlined, disciplined life and then work accordingly. We think that if we are spending time on ourselves, we will have less time at work. Anybody only needs to experiment it for 2 months. You're going to have much more time at work because if you energize yourself here, you need less time to do what you need to do. Your efficiency, your intuition power, your decision making power, your clarity, your stability will be so high that you will just sail through the day and you will be able to do more than what you could do otherwise. Again, a simple story. If you want to cut a tree, you need to take out time to sharpen the axe. You need to. Otherwise, you're going to take a long time to cut the tree. But if somebody said, go and sharpen the axe, and we said, we don't have time because we're cutting the tree, not a very intelligent decision for us. It's affecting us. So, sleeping time, best time to sleep, 10 to 4. 10 to 4 scientifically. You can study that scientifically. It's the high energizing time for the mind and body. So, ideally, let's start cutting off our day so that we can sleep by 10. If we sleep by 10, we will automatically wake up by 4 or 5. It will be a natural waking up. It will be a natural waking up because we've slept at the high energizing time. We will wake up naturally. Not that we will wake up, press the snooze button, sleep for some more time, and wake up tired, but we have to get up. That's not how life is meant to be. We're supposed to sleep natural, wake up natural, and flow through the day with ease. So, at least an hour before sleeping, again, we disconnect from media and social media. Needs the mind to slow down. Need the mind to slow down. It cannot be in a hyperactive mode and then we go to sleep. So, at least an hour before sleeping, the mind needs to slow down. So, for 10 minutes before sleeping, again, spiritual study, meditation, writing a daily journal, the mind needs to be decluttered before sleeping. These 2 hours, 1 hour after waking up, 1 hour before sleeping. 1 hour before sleeping, spend time with family, listen to music, do anything that you like, but don't be at work. Don't be at work. Don't listen to the world news in the night before you're going to sleep or the first thing in the morning. Because what you are consuming is what's going to get processed in the next 7 hours. If I do not energize myself here, where do I have the energy to give in relationships? A relationship is two people who are going to give in that relationship. But if those two people do not charge their battery every day, what strength will they have to give to the other? Then they only want in a relationship. I want love. I want happiness. I want you to understand me. I want you to trust me. You should be stable. I am allowed to shout. This because we are depleted. So at least one out of the two needs to energize themselves. If one person also energizes themselves on a daily basis, relationship will become very simple. Very simple. Because even if one reacts, the other one is quiet, responds with stability, with ease. And if that happens, everyone will be united. In the house, let's make a culture that we don't use phones and television while having our meals. We don't use phones and television while having our meals. Meal time is an energizing time. Food not only creates physical health, it affects emotional health. And if we are watching and engaged in something else when we are eating, then we are not energizing our mind and body. So let's create these simple rules at home that we do not use phone and TV while eating. Let's experiment with the sattvic diet. Vegetarian diet helps a great deal to keep your mind very light, relaxed, and happy, and also body very light and easy. But we need to experiment with it, and many of you have experimented with that in COVID. So let's start working and building on our emotional health. Let's take a few thoughts for our family. And let's create these thoughts in our morning meditation and visualization on a daily basis. Let's say the first thought is, I am a powerful being. I am a powerful being. Powerful means I don't react, I don't get disturbed to situations and people. Second, I am happy always. What we think, we will start becoming. So, not that I'm looking for happiness, I am happy always. Third, I'm a giver in life. I'm a giver in my relationships, which means I give love, I give respect, I give acceptance. I need nothing from people. I need to teach my mind this. Otherwise, my mind is always standing like this from people. I want, I want. I need nothing from people. I'm a giver in my relationships. I radiate love, respect, and acceptance. I radiate it to everybody. Then always keep a affirmation, a thought for your family. My family stands on the foundation of unconditional respect and acceptance. This is a thought you need to radiate into the house. Then, my family is united and will always be. My family is united and will always be. So I'm a powerful being. I'm happy always. I'm a giver. I radiate unconditional acceptance and respect. My family stands on a foundation of respect and unity. My family is united and will always be. Now, if you just wake up in the morning and create these thoughts 5 to 6 times in silence and visualize it, you are radiating that vibration into the house. Every person is going to receive that vibration. And when people receive that vibration, they start becoming that. If you want everyone in the family to have a powerful mind, take care of how the food is cooked. Kitchen, the food is cooked, should be cooked in a very peaceful state. Have high energy words playing in the house, in the kitchen, throughout the day, because words and emotions influence food and water. So if you have hymns and prayers and bhajans, mantra, chanting, positive videos in the kitchen, throughout the day, then it's like prasad being cooked in a temple, in a gurdwara, in a masjid. It's like that. Your kitchen will become like that. And when you're cooking high energy food in the kitchen, it will change the minds of everybody in the family. It will just start changing the minds of everybody in the family. And that's why spirituality and meditation is not just about an hour, it's a way of living. It's a way of living. Some people think, oh, I am not spiritual. Everyone is spiritual. Spiritual is about the way we think. We think spirituality means what we wear. No, spirituality is not what we wear. Spirituality is not where we live. Spirituality is of who we are here inside. Who we are here inside. You can be a business leader, you can be a parent, a spouse, taking care of everybody, traveling all over the world, and you can be very, very spiritual here because spirituality is all about how you think. Your art of thinking, speaking, working, living, that is spirituality. So there are four energies. If we take care of that at home, everything's taken care of. First is the money that comes into the house, the dhan, because the dhan is used for buying the food, the an. The an will influence the mind. As is the food, so is the mind. So man. And as is the man, so is the tan, the body. So these four energies are very important. Dhan, an, man, and tan. Money, food, mind, and body. That's the order in which they go. So the way the money is earned. Today, we focus more on how much we earn. Priority should not be how much we earn. Priority should be how we earn. The money should come into the house with blessings. The money should come into the house with people being contented around us. When the money comes into the house with blessings, then that money is used to nourish the family. Then whether it's their food, whether it's their education, everything is being done with that money. So that money should have blessings in it. So then the food should be sattvic. Then the man in the morning, 1 hour for energizing. Body will be healthy and family will be very united. Just need to create a sattvic environment in the house to begin with, at least for an hour in the morning. Just the vibration, the energy of the house. We cannot only prioritize how beautiful the house is. The priority should be what's the vibration of my house. When someone enters your house, they should feel a sense of calm and peace. That should be the vibration of the house. Then that energy is influencing everyone in the family. So relationships begin from here. Start taking care of your mind, body, relationships, house, and the planet. Everything will be taken care of. So 1 hour for self-care. Let's give ourselves that gift this year, and very soon we will change the world. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much. Sister Shivani, thank you so much. That was wonderful, as usual. And as usual, we have a host of questions. Let me start with one, because as time is limited. You said in the course of your speech that powerful parents, I mean, the parents must bring upon their children their own power. Otherwise, unless the parents are powerful, the children cannot be. But, you know, another very powerful instinct of parents is to pamper their child, to protect their child. But protection in later life, when they actually go out into the world, when they do not have their parents' backing and nobody is protecting them, they feel very exposed, very vulnerable, they struggle. So what would be the spiritual solution to this aspect of family?
Right from the womb of the mother, power means not control. Power means your vibrations, your emotional health. Emotionally, if I'm powerful, then the vibrations that I radiate to anybody will be powerful. But if I'm depleted, if I'm stressed, then that's the vibration I will radiate to everyone around me. But the impact of a parent on a child is the highest in terms of vibrations. And it starts from the time the child is in the womb of the mother. We all know that Abhimanyu, he heard about how to fight the war in the womb of the mother. So it's in the womb of the mother that the child starts getting the sanskars of the parents, is in the womb of the mother. That's why it's called Garabh Sanskar. Garabh Sanskar, wo Garabh mein milte hain sanskar. So right from that time, the lifestyle of the parent, not just the mother, but the lifestyle of the parents, the couple, the way they think, the way they speak, the way they behave, the way they live, has started impacting the child right from the time it's in the womb. Now, when you said it comes to being very overprotective or pampering, it actually means that we give in to a lot that they want, and we don't say no to them for anything. We don't say no to them for anything. In fact, someone said very beautifully that many children today are suffering from a vitamin deficiency, which is a vitamin N, the ability to be able to listen to a no. Because we have everything, we give it to them. Many of us have grown up in a time where we didn't have everything. So we automatically got a lot of no in life. Ye chahiye, no. Ye chahiye, nahi. Ye nahi milega, ye nahi milega. Now today, because we are working very hard and the opportunities are so much, we have abundance. So we are able to give the child everything. But please remember, the child's ability to listen to a no is actually cultivating their adjustment power, their power to tolerate, their power to adjust. If 20, 25 years a child gets everything their way, then suddenly when they are exposed to the world, whether it's to their spouse, whether it's to their work environment, whether it's to a situation outside, how will they be able to face a world which is not their way? Not their way. We're living in a very different time. Now it is, if they order something also, it should come within so many minutes, otherwise they're allowed to reject it. So they grow up believing that the world is going to be their way. They can click and they can get things, they can order and it's there within. So it's a very, very different mind. This mind wants the world to be their way. And then suddenly if there's a situation which is not their way, they haven't yet cultivated that habit. So it doesn't general for everybody, but has impacted many. So we just need to listen, let them listen to a no a little more. Even if we have everything, we need to say a no. That no will help them to adapt and adjust with life. And to remember, they're a soul on a journey. We cannot control their destiny. Our role is only to handhold them. We cannot protect them from the challenges of life. We can empower them to face the challenges of life. We cannot protect them. How do you know what does life have in store for them tomorrow? But if we strengthen them emotionally, they will face every challenge of their life.
Very true and very practically spoken. So that brings me to another question which we have just received from Dr. Shashi Kant, who has sent this question from Mumbai, one of the many thousands of viewers. Yeah, I would just make a little detour and inform you that 8,500 views were logged yesterday, and we still haven't got the final count today. Anyway, the question is that, as you said, that while eating, we should not watch television or look at our phones. But children nowadays, particularly young children, they absolutely refuse to have food without the television on. So, how can this be prevented?
It will have to first start from the parents. So let's not look at the change getting created in
Right.
children. It will have to start from the parents. You know why? Because this generation of children, right from when they were in their womb of the mother, the parents were exposed to technology. Because if you're looking about a child 10 years old today, 15 years old, they have grown up right from the womb with their parents exposed to technology. So even when the child was in the womb, the mother was using the phone a lot. Maybe the mother was talking on the phone and eating. Maybe the mother was watching TV and eating, or the couple. So it is a sanskar they have come with in the womb. Then what happened? Because both of the parents were working, they had less time sometimes. So they tried to make up for the time by giving the child distractions. Intention was very good, but they did not have enough time. So they tried to compensate for the time by giving other things. Now, if the child has to eat, it takes a little time to feed a young child, right? A little kid. It takes time. So if we remember, the mother used to run after the child, give stories. Now we have technology. So why does the mother have to say the story? So the mother can only select a story, put it on the phone, and keep it there, and the child will eat the food. This is distracted eating because the child keeps eating. The child is watching something. You can keep putting anything into their mouth, but then the sanskar is created. It's happened. So now they are used to distracted eating. They cannot sit without it. They say, how can I? It's so boring to eat without anything there. They've grown up. So you can't immediately ask them to change tomorrow, but you can change. So the change has to begin from the parent. The parent has to stop using phone and TV while eating, and no means no, which means even if there's a phone from anywhere for you, you have to put it on silent and say just 10 minutes. I'll take it after 10 minutes. Crisis doesn't come every day, but we pick up every phone as if it's urgent. Everything is urgent for us nowadays in life. So 10 minutes, 15 minutes is all that it takes to have a meal. Phone on silent, away from the dining table. If the parents start doing it, then only those vibrations will radiate to the children. Then only will there be a change there. So it has to begin from us, because the sanskar they have got has also happened from us. So the new one will also come from our change.
Thank you so much. We have hundreds of messages, but let me select one. Mr. Sanjeev Bakshi from Hyderabad, he says that calmness and serenity were felt while listening to this session. And then he goes on to say that my question is about the object and method of meditation so as to achieve peace, harmony, purity, and finally, a sense of the divine.
Like I shared with you, what we learn at the Brahma Kumaris is called Raj Yoga meditation. It's a connection with the self and the connection with the supreme power. It uses the power of affirmation plus power of visualization to create an inner preparation, an inner programming. We all have used power of affirmation and visualization, but we used in the outer world, to achieve this, to become this. Now we're going to use it here. And second, it experiences a very beautiful connection with the divine power, a very personalized relationship with God, where we start experiencing that energy in every work of every aspect of our life. So if you would like it, you would like to learn it, then you can visit the Brahma Kumari centers close to where you stay. And the sisters will teach you the Raj Yoga meditation one-on-one. It's a course we do one-on-one, or if you are accompanied by family, just 5-6 days, hour every day, anytime that you choose, you can learn it at the center, and the sisters are always there. So wherever you stay, there is a center. Within 3 kilometers of where you stay, there is a center, and everything is free. There's never a cost attached to anything, any seva, any program at the center. All that we need to do is take out an hour of our time.
Thank you so much. If we can trouble you for one more question, this is from Deepak. He says that he is currently connected to the World Confluence. His question is, how can harmony be restored in relationships which have gone sour? He gives the particular example of siblings, usually rivalry, blame games. So how can we restore happiness, love, and harmony?
Again, because it's time up, I'll just take 30 seconds. Relationship is not about between two people. Relationship is between two minds. It's two minds. Don't wait that both need to change. Only one needs to work on the mind. The more you will energize yourself on a daily basis, bring your life onto that powerful principles, your power to accept and adjust will change. Your power to let go and forgive will increase. Relationship will shift to harmony. Dadiji used to say, harmony means हार मानी. हार मानी तो हारमनी हो जाएगी, लेकिन हर बात पे ऐसे अकड़ के रह गए तो हारमनी खत्म हो जाती है. तो छोटी छोटी बातों में अकड़ते नहीं, हार मान लेते हैं, कोई बात नहीं, आपकी बात अनुसार चलते हैं, तो हारमनी अपने आप हो जाती है. All that you need to do is start taking care here. Relationship is taken care of. Just give yourself 3 months to experiment with this.
Thank you so much. We won't keep you any further.